been over a year since the COVID-19 pandemic began, and if you're like me, you're thinking about one thing. What bikepacking adventure will I take in 2021? It's never too early to begin planning. This video is the first in a series showing you how to plan bikepacking adventures. We'll cover everything you need to know for a successful adventure. All that will include storage to what bike to use. There will even be a bike build near the end of the series. Today we'll decide what bike is best for bikepacking adventures. I'd love to hear in the comments what you think is the best bike. It could be OEM or one you've built yourself. Half the fun of planning is sharing information on what works and what doesn't. So give me your best comments below. I share the best comments at the end of every video. So be on the lookout for your comment. There's a lot of information on bikes to cover here. So let's get started. What features on a bike make a great bikepacking bike? There are many, and we'll cover these here, including some specific brand and model examples. So stick around to see if what you're thinking gets mentioned. To understand what makes a great bikepacking bike, we'll need a clear definition of what bikepacking is. For many decades, long-distance bike touring required front and rear racks with panniers. It's a great system that I've used on my long-distance road adventures. As off-road adventures became more popular in the last decade or so, demands in weight reduction and a more secure way to pack equipment increased. The best way to do this is to move gear to the rear seat post, handlebars, fork, and frame itself. Bikepacking involves any adventure of at least one night on a bike capable of carrying the required equipment. This means that you can bike pack on any bike that's suited for the terrain you plan on riding. But there are specific models that are designed to easily attach bags, bottles, and accessories that camping adventures require. What are the characteristics of a bikepacking bike? Compared to other categories of cycling, bikepacking is relatively new. This means that it is still undergoing a lot of experimentation among riders and manufacturers. What the best characteristics are is open to customization. I'm a tinker and I love trying new things. This is exactly why bikepacking adventures appeal to me so much. Despite the vast range, let's try and narrow this down a bit. We'll break this down into 3 sections: frame material, bosses, eyelets, and mounts for gear, and finally, geometry. By the end of this video, we'll have some model examples. The first type of frame material, chromoly steel, is the most common in the world of bikepacking. While it's not the lightest material, it is inexpensive, easy to repair, and most importantly, chromoly has a great deal of compliance for absorbing road chatter. The next type, aluminum, is strong, lightweight, and inexpensive. The downside of aluminum is its rigidity, and that can lead to vibrations in rougher terrain. Those vibrations can be uncomfortable, especially on longer rides. Many aluminum frames have carbon forks to offset vibrations. In rare cases where an aluminum frame cracks, they can be repaired, but not as easily or cheaply as steel. There's a really good reason aluminum frames often use carbon forks. Carbon fiber frames absorb vibrations well, they're strong, and most importantly, are among the lightest bikepacking bikes. The expense of carbon fiber keeps these frames on the higher end bikepacking bikes. Titanium is the last frame material. Its very low weight, high strength, and superior shock absorption make it ideal for a bikepacking frame. But its high cost typically keeps titanium to boutique brands. Unlike carbon fiber, titanium is not prone to catastrophic failure and is virtually corrosion resistant. All frame materials have their positives and negatives. If I had my choice, every bike I own would be made of titanium. But that's truly cost prohibitive. I know in the future I will have a titanium build on this channel. For now, I'll stick to steel or carbon fiber. Carrying gear is an important part of bikepacking, and having a spot on your frame to secure it as you ride is paramount. The old school way of using racks and panniers is tried and true for touring, but as soon as you want to head off-road, you begin to wish you had a fork, handlebar, frame, and seat post bags securely strapped to your rig. Many bikepacking bags are equipped with a dynamo hub and a light attached to the fork crown. We'll cover the specifics of bags and gear in another video, but any bike you'd want for bikepacking require bosses, eyelets, and mounts to attach cargo. The geometry of a bikepacking frame is an important decision, but there are no wrong answers here. The geometry should be suited to the rider's environment and riding style. It's a complicated discussion to parse out the idiosyncrasies of bike geometry. That would require a separate video on itself. Instead, let's use broad strokes here and talk about types of bikes you can use for your bikepacking adventure. Depending on your riding style and terrain, there are 3 types of bikes that work well for bikepacking. The first is a mountain bike. Within this category, there are many subsets. As I mentioned earlier, you can bikepack on any bike, but within each category of mountain bikes, you want to find one with a straight top tube and a long head tube to accommodate frame bags. Mountain bikes have the lowest gear inches for long climbs, and while there are drop bar mountain bikes, flat bars are more common for comfort. The subsets include fat bikes, rigid, hardtail, and full suspension mountain bikes. For fat bikes, the original fat bike, the Surly Pugsley, is the very best example. The Tumbleweed Prospector is a great example of a rigid mountain bikepacking bike, though it's so versatile that it could fit into several mountain bike types. The Specialized Epic is a choice of famed bikepacking legend Lael Wilcox. It's also a great hardtail bikepacking bike. With the limitations of available cargo space, a full suspension mountain bike would not be my choice for a bikepacking bike. But the Salsa Horsethief would be a good choice if you want or need a full suspension bike for your bikepacking adventures. The next type is gravel and all-road bikes. These versatile bikes share a lot of DNA with road bikes, but have a longer wheelbase and a slacker head tube and fork rake angles for greater stability. These bikes are agile and fast and are best suited for sub-24 overnights or go fast and light bikepacking adventures. As bikepacking and gravel become more popular, many brands simply took cyclocross bikes and designed frames to fit larger tires. These bikes are great bikes, but they may not be the best long-distance bikepacking bikes. Some good examples are the Specialized Diverge, the higher-end NLB, LT, and LTD versions of the Kona Rove, and the Salsa Journeyman. The last type is monster cross and adventure bikes. These are versatile, upright bikes with drop bars that can handle gravel, hardpack, asphalt, and moderate single track. While on a monster cross or adventure bike, you won't win any road races, and you can't rip on single track with these bikes. The versatility is its best strength. When searching for a monster cross or adventure bike, look for one with all the bosses, eyelets, and mounts you would need for your adventure. The best examples are the Salsa Fargo and one of my favorites, the Bearclaw Thunderhawk. What are your options for a bikepacking rig? Leave me a comment below what you would look for in a bikepacking bike